Life has a way of throwing curveballs when you least expect them. I'm 41, and I thought I had things figured out. But in January of 2023, my world was turned upside down. That's when I discovered my wife, someone I'd been married to for 8 years, was having an affair. The night I confronted her, she didn't deny it. Instead, she confessed something even worse. She said she was in love with him. Imagine hearing that from the person you thought you'd spend the rest of your life with. It felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. She moved out 2 months later, in March of 2023. She told me she wanted the divorce process to be quick, to get it over with so we could both move on. At the time, I thought that was the one silver lining. I could finally close this painful chapter and start fresh. But that wasn't how it played out. She stalled on the paperwork for months, dragging the process out until November. For 4 long months after that, we were stuck in this limbo, going back and forth over every detail. It was exhausting, both mentally and emotionally. Then, out of the blue, she started pushing to speed things up. I couldn't understand why the sudden urgency, until I found out the truth. Turns out her affair partner, the man she left me for, had sold his house. Together, they bought property in our town and were building a house. But here's the kicker. Everything was in his name. Mind you, this guy had no connection to our town except for her. He uprooted his life, and they were planning a future together, while I was still legally married to her. When I learned this, it felt like all the progress I'd made in healing was wiped away in an instant. I thought I was moving on, but this revelation brought me right back to my knees. It's one thing to be betrayed. It's another to see your former life being rebuilt with someone else before your divorce is even finalized. Eventually, we did finalize the divorce. It was painful, but at least it was over, or so I thought. Fast forward to just a few weeks later, and I got the most unexpected update. It turns out her dream life with the affair partner wasn't all it seemed. After using the money she received from our divorce to help pay for his house, her new partner started treating her differently. He became distant, cold, and eventually made it clear he wasn't interested in her anymore. Now, he's selling the house they were building together and leaving town. Just like that, she's left with nothing. No house, no partner, and no money. She came back to me, pleading for a second chance. I'd like to say I was surprised by her request, but honestly, I wasn't. She'd burned every bridge, and now she was desperate. But here's the thing. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. The woman who betrayed me, who chose someone else over our life together, wasn't the woman I could ever trust again. And as much as it hurt, I knew I couldn't go back. Some things, once broken, can't be fixed. She made her choices, and now she has to live with them. As for me, I've learned to let go. It's not easy, and it doesn't happen overnight, but holding on to anger or resentment only holds you back. This entire experience has taught me a lot about myself and about relationships. Trust is the foundation of any partnership, and once it's broken, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. I've also learned the importance of self-respect. Walking away was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it was also the right thing. Staying in a toxic situation doesn't help anyone. It just prolongs the pain. To anyone out there who's been betrayed, know this. You're stronger than you think. It's okay to grieve what you've lost, but don't let it define you. Use it as an opportunity to grow, to heal, and to create a life that truly makes you happy. I'm sharing this story not for sympathy, but to let others know they're not alone. Betrayal is painful, but it doesn't have to be the end. It could be the beginning of something new, something better. If you've been through something similar, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. Let's create a space where we can support and encourage each other. Remember, brighter days are always ahead. You just have to keep moving forward,